Hey, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. We're back for another week of action, thrills, and suspense. Alonso's here with Matt and Christy. We've got updates of the week, news, things that are happening, some of them virus-related, some of them not. But as always, Matt's going to kick us off with marquees.
Yes, also, my neighbors are using a staple gun, or nail gun, actually. So if you hear a banging noise, that's what it is.
Wait, isn't your neighbor a daycare? The kids at the daycare are using a nail gun?
They've given each kid a nail gun.
Baby's first nail gun.
And letting them duke it out.
The best woodshop class ever.
Right? 10 babies enter, 1 baby leaves.
Okay, well, I can't hear it, so.
Oh, well, they stopped now. All right, let me share my screen.
Do we have a lot of marquees this week?
We have a few. I didn't count them, but yes, we have some.
I sent you one.
Yes, you did.
Do you have the one I sent you?
Yes, I do.
Good. Thank you.
Yes. Here's the one we opened the show with.
Aww.
Closed again with the little smiley.
Sad face emoji.
I know, right?
So
no, not emoji. Emoticon. Sorry.
Right.
So it says West Alabama Ice House, but the sign's got a big Texas on it. Where is this place?
It's in West Alabama.
In Texas. It's a town called West Alabama in Texas?
I think so. I need to go back and check the news. I just grabbed the picture right before we started. So
there's a lot of semiotics happening here.
Yeah. It says closed again.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that was sorry. This is the picture we're opening up with because we are closed again. And that's the big drop. Right?
So West Alabama Ice House is in Houston. It's on a street called West Alabama.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Houston is just in serious pain right now. Their numbers are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
All of Texas, Dallas County, too.
Yeah, the hospitals are all packed.
Right?
What's that, Matt?
Not like we aren't either.
Or also, yeah, no, it's true. It's where California has become one of the bad places. We were doing great there for a while, and then suddenly we didn't.
This is in the Montrose neighborhood of Houston, which I think is where Rice is, right? Is it like sort of the gay neighborhood in Houston?
It is the gay neighborhood. Yeah. Was that? Did you just limp wrist?
No, I said gay. No, that's not that. This is like a sorta, because I don't want to like classify it as a gay neighborhood if indeed it is not. So this is.
Look, back when I lived in Texas, I know that the Montrose was the gay area of Houston, but the way gentrification goes, I couldn't speak for what they are now.
Okay.
We start doing the gay neighborhood.
Well, we have gay neighborhood news later on, so we'll talk about that.
Okay then.
All right, next up, let's see. Let me get to our next picture. All right, so this was sent in by Alex Gardieff, who says he's sending in a marquee from the Enzian Theater, which is a one-screen art house theater in Maitland, Florida. It's been open a few weeks now, showing a mix of classic films, independent films, and highlighting a weekly movie supporting Black Americans. Which is none of these pictures listed.
I was going to say,
Pineapple Express.
Well, I mean, Empire, Lando's in it, right?
Right.
Empire Strikes
and
Back,
the voice of
Relic,
James Earl Jones.
Relic and Pineapple Express, and then here's their one. This is what he's talking about. Stand with Black Americans, hear their stories, and then also watch Crime and Punishment 2018.
That was a documentary about the systemic racism within the New York Police Department. And how the officers were urged to profile, essentially, and were penalized if they did not.
The city that gave us stop and frisk.
So thank you, Alex, for sending those in. Next up, from a couple pictures from Alex Hofert. These are the Duggan Cinemas. Hooray for our theater. Where he says, hooray, our theater is reopening for a free movie each week, sponsored by local businesses or fans. And this week's movie sponsored by Andrew Hoffert, who sent us.
Okay.
Way to go, Andrew.
Nice. And he's showing Bohemian Rhapsody. Is it a sing-along, I wonder? That'd be fun.
I hope it's a mask-wearing sing-along.
Yeah, you can sing within your masks.
Right?
And the marquee obviously ran out of H's.
Oh, Rhapsody. Right, he spells Rhapsody wrong.
There you go.
Maybe it's the rap version.
Rhapsody. Okay.
Vanilla Ice.
Yes.
Okay, so this came in from Beast Out on Twitter. Not exactly a movie marquee, but even on Gilligan's Island, they listen to the professor, not the millionaire.
That's very funny.
Right? Okay, next up, Christy Lemire. Lemire.
Matt, you're freezing up again. Matt, you're freezing up. Can we hear you again?
I don't know. Can you see me?
Now I can see you. Do it again.
So Christy Lemire sent this in. This is the Saint Rocket.
Saint Rock is a music venue and a bar. It's on PCH in Hermosa, kind of at the Redondo border. And they do like on Tuesdays, they do like Friends trivia night or that kind of thing, 80s movie trivia night. But they have bands all the time. And so the marquee is frozen in time. They have bands that were supposed to play in early and mid-March and early April, and they just haven't taken them down. So clearly Julian Marley did not play on March 20th. And then I don't know if you can see on the side there, the
front marquee says,
the front says stay safe. So St. Rock is like one of a million cool little music venues that are probably really hurting because even if concerts can resume in some form, they're not going to resume in this kind of situation for who knows how long.
Well, hopefully they were able to get a PPP loan despite not being directly related to anyone on the presidential staff.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, next up are some pictures from Jeff Swanson, who's helping us keep our marquees going. These are photos from the Trilon Theater, a nonprofit revival theater in Minneapolis. They're also home to the Twin Cities annual Hitchcock Festival. So this is the cinema from the outside, and then inside they've got their marquee, reminding us Justin's for George. Absolutely right. And then this is their lobby with all these great posters here. They're currently coordinating food and supplies efforts for people in need during the pandemic. So Jeff, thank you for sending those on. Next up,
cool.
We have a picture from, this is Twitter user Non-Compass Mentis sent this in. It's from the Metro Cinema, and the Metro Cinema says, looking for safe ways to celebrate a special birthday or anniversary, make it unforgettable with our marquee. See your message lit up on the historic Garneau Theater. You can email info@metrocinema.org if you're interested. Also, happy anniversary, Greg and Sonia.
That's really cute. It says, when Greg met Sonia, special 25th anniversary edition, playing since May 21st, 1995. Love you lots. That's really sweet. It was their anniversary.
And that's such a very cool idea. Like we have some of these theaters who are like selling popcorn or doing other things to kind of generate some revenue. Yeah, renting out your marquee to people who want to, like, you know, whether for personal, I'm sure they're probably open to businesses doing it as well. It's a big sign that you own that you can rent. So it's a good way to make some cash.
That's it for this week. Thank you. Thank you everybody for sending those in. Keep sending them in. They're still fun to be had out there. So thank you.
Yeah, we have to keep our sense of humor somehow in these crazy times. The breaking news is that Kanye West is not running for president. I repeat, Kanye West is not running. It lasted like a week.
Who would have seen that coming?
Like, I think he actually tried to get on the ballot in a couple of states.
I think he actually is on the ballot, maybe in like Oklahoma or someplace.
Okay. Well, if you're in Oklahoma, you can vote for Kanye West. Throw your vote away. See what happens. So that is one thing. A couple other things. I'm always excited to squeeze sports news in, although you guys hate it. But a couple of really huge names tested positive this past week. One just announced just today, which is Yasiel Puig, superstar, former right fielder for the Dodgers, absolutely beloved in this town still, even though he hasn't played here for a couple of seasons. He posted on Twitter in English and Spanish that he tested positive, although he's asymptomatic. You know, he has it. Also, Russell Westbrook, if you guys know who that is. You're both looking at me blankly. Superstar NBA players with the Oklahoma City for a long time. He plays for the Rockets. But he has it. And again, like when we talked about like Novak Djokovic getting it, like you can be in complete peak health playing at the absolute highest levels in professional sports and still get it. So really, truly nobody is safe. And that's what Yasiel Puig said in his message too, is like, you can be an athlete like me and still get it. So wear a mask.
A couple of Bollywood stars have tested positive, as well as members of their family. I don't know if Amitabh Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai, who are both like they're the Bollywood power couple. Them and I think two of their kids have been admitted to the hospital with COVID.
I saw that she posted a picture of herself with her little girl, and they were about to go and quarantine somewhere together.
Yeah.
Chuck Woolery is no longer on Twitter.
Oh, Chuck.
So Chuck Woolery posted all kind of nonsense, all kind of, COVID is a hoax conspiracy nonsense. And Trump, of course, retweeted him because he loves a good conservative game show host. And I don't know whether he deleted his own account or it was suspended, but like when you look up Chuck Woolery, his account is still there, but it just says tweets are not loading right now. Please try back. But like his header is still there with his little photo and all that. So,
well, and then he did tweet that his son had tested positive.
His son has it. Yes. So
Okay,
he tweeted all this nonsense about how COVID's a hoax, and then his son tested positive, and now he's not on Twitter anymore. I've met Chuck Woolery.
I did too. I was a contestant on Greed.
Oh, I was on Scrabble.
Thank God. I thought one of you was going to say Love Connection.
Not yet. We'll be back in 2 and 2. No, but I was on Scrabble my senior year in high school. I won $500 and I lost in the bonus round. It happens. Tyra Banks.
Alonso was on Jeopardy though. He's the smart one.
He was. He has the actual intellectual.
I was also on Merv Griffin's Crosswords, which lasted a whole season.
Oh.
Just Merv's Crosswords?
Did you win any money, Alonso?
I did. I won. Well, the great thing about Jeopardy is that even if you don't win the game, you get some money because I came in second, but I still got a couple of grand. I won on
plus a box of Rice-A-Roni, right?
I wish. No Rice-A-Roni and no home game. I won money and a trip to Cancun from Merv Griffin's Crosswords, and I won a lot of money actually from a show, another one season wonder show called Trivial Pursuit America Plays.
I remember that.
That has been my game show history, hosted by Christopher Knight, aka Peter Brady.
Peter Brady. Don't try to put him in a box. Well, you guys know my game show thing.
Yes, Teen Jeopardy, right?
I was the winner of Teen Week. I was a big winner on Teen Week when I was 13 on Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune, that's it.
So you've met both of the insane right-wing conservative game show hosts, right?
They were very nice in the 80s. Pat Sajak and Chuck Woolery were lovely in the 80s. And things changed.
Didn't have Twitter yet.
No, true. So Tyra Banks is now, speaking of hosting game shows, Tyra Banks is now going to host Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
Tom Bergeron is out after 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I never watched it really, so I don't have but I've heard a lot of people, our friend Louis Fertel, who is a game show, aficionado and expert, said that like Bergeron's a really good host. Like he was always very good at sort of embracing the absurdity without mocking it and sort of stepping aside and not making himself the center of things. But look, I'm sure, shows are on for a long time and you start, rotating the on-camera talent. I mean, America's Funniest Home Videos is like still on somewhere, right? Like, isn't that still a thing? So I'm sure they've gone through, I don't know how many hosts at this point.
Supposedly Tom Bergeron's a very nice guy. Everyone likes him.
That scans.
Okay. Other things of note. Okay. Nick Cannon. Let's talk about Nick Cannon for a second. Because Viacom completely booted him from any television manifestations that he had for them after he made some anti-Semitic comments on his podcast. He had done a lot of like Nickelodeon stuff, and he just hosted a lot of like award stuff and like kid-friendly stuff. Basically saying that Black people are the true Hebrews. This is very controversial. There was a backlash. And so Viacom distanced itself from him as a corporation. Also he said that lacking sufficient melanin makes you prone to violence. That's the thing he said. And now he says he's taking time away from his radio show, quote unquote. So,
but Fox has not fired him from
The Masked Singer.
Masked Singer, right? Okay.
I think he is still doing that show.
Fox doesn't fire people for being racist. Come on.
Well, this is not
That's
Fox News.
Network, though.
This is Fox TV, but
Matt.
But here we are.
Michelle Obama is joining the podcast game. She has a podcast coming out soon called, appropriately enough, the Michelle Obama Podcast. And it's about meaningful relationships and conversations.
All the celebrities just got to muscle their way into this
Right.
game. Like the rest of us are just trying to take our little piece.
There's plenty of room in the ether. There's not a finite amount of space in the ether.
No, but there's a finite amount of time people have to listen to shows.
Mhm.
So
No, good for her, though. I, wish her well. Yes.
So are we going to start
Matt.
calling this MOP? MOP, the Michelle Obama podcast.
The Mop Show.
Mop-
We are
Mop.
the bad show. Okay, the Rose Parade has been canceled.
Yo, I
This is
know.
a huge deal here. It has only happened a couple of times before, both during World War II. It is deeply steeped into the tradition of Southern California in general, but Pasadena specifically, where tradition is like everything. And we're 6 months out from it. Not
That's
quite
the
5
part
months
that
out.
surprised me. That this early, they're like, nope, New Year's Day not happening. Like, a lot of other big events have cut it closer and been like, well, let's get closer. Maybe things like they just decided like, no, but this is not going to be fixed by New Year's Day, so we're just not doing it.
Well, what it is like they're working year round on those floats.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like you don't want to tell them 2 weeks beforehand and you've
Right.
got this like giant thing covered in geraniums or whatever, carnations.
Poppy
that
seeds.
you have to set fire to,
Have either of you ever been to one of those buildings where they're working on the floats?
No, is it cool?
No.
Yeah, it is pretty cool because it's a big, it is a big open warehouse space. And I mean, obviously it's not just one building, right? But there'll be the one that I've been to, there'll be 5 or 6 floats in there and there's people all over them. I mean, it's a crowd, relatively busy place.
Sure.
Plus they allow people to come through and see them being built.
I think you can help too. I think there's like a way
Yeah.
to sign up and actually
You can
help
volunteer
put
and
the
do it.
details on there.
Right.
So that's a big deal. I wonder too how much it is coming into play that the college football season is so up in the air right now. And so theoretically, the reason that everyone is going to this is that it's time to the Rose Bowl. And of course, it's New Year's Day and all that. But like, if there is no Pac-12 football,
Sure.
who knows
Well,
what's going to happen,
I mean, there would still be the parade, right? I mean, they could still do that if there was no.
And the
Yeah, I
bands
mean,
that come
football.
through and the horses
that's-
come through.
right.
Yeah, there are
That's
a
the
lot
other
of people
part.
who camp out on the streets for
Oh,
days
yeah.
in advance, not for the football game, just for the parade.
Right.
This will
So
be
that's
the
a
year
big
that it
deal here.
rains. Right. This will be the year that it rains cats and dogs on New Year's. Because I've always been amazed on how it never, ever seemed like the weather always seems to be nearly perfect on New Year's Day here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like so many other cancellations, this really hurts a lot of those businesses that look to that week, in and around New Year's Day for a lot of their annual economy. So that's a bummer.
And a lot of florists, I'm sure, too, probably get a lot
Sure.
of business out of this, too.
Speaking of that,
and
Alon-
Tish and Cord.
Right. What will Tish and Cord talk about?
I don't
Not
know.
this. Also, so speaking of things that have been canceled or whatever, the Pride Parade is leaving West Hollywood after 4 decades. Alonso,
Yes.
since you live near this, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a good thing. I think that it made perfect sense for the Pride Parade to be in West Hollywood for such a long time because West Hollywood was this traditionally sort of this enclave of queer life in Los Angeles. It wasn't part of the incorporated city of Los Angeles. It was its own thing. It was a place where a lot of people moved. There were a lot of LGBT businesses. It was this kind of like, the gay Vatican inside of LA, if you will. But, now, like, we're everywhere. We're all over the place. And there are gay neighborhoods, in Los Feliz and in, Hancock Park and all these different parts of town. And, I think that the parade really should move. I think every year it should be somewhere else because it should reflect the diversity of the queer community itself and of the city of Los Angeles. So, and I don't just say that because, they ran down the bottom of my street and it was always a pain in the ass. I think that West Hollywood is not the sort of beacon of, a rainbow flag that it once was. And I think that the Pride Parade should sort of, embrace the fact that there's so much of Los Angeles where gay people have settled and feel comfortable living and are part of their own neighborhoods and their own communities. And so those communities should be hosting the parade in years to come.
Also, if I understand correctly, hasn't it changed quite a bit in terms of like the management of it and the size of it, and maybe it's become more of like a big corporate behemoth where they sell expensive tickets to go and dance versus it being like an inclusive kind of community experience?
That is also true. Yes. I think that, all pride parades have their roots in political and activist sort of, movements. And then in the ensuing decades, when, LGBT became a marketing demographic as much as anything else, it did become these, more money got pumped into them. There were more companies that were willing to spend money to participate, to have the Wells Fargo float or whatever, and then, you have these festivals you have to then buy a ticket to get into and go dancing and buy meat on a stick or whatever it is you're going to do there. And it I think has kind of gotten divorced from its roots. As there have been a couple times in the past few years where, like the year that Trump was elected, for instance, it was very much redesigned to be an activist parade. This year was very much trying to reflect the ongoing protests regarding Black Lives Matter in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and other things. So I would love to see Pride become less of a sort of blue chip advertising opportunity and more of more true to its sort of rabble rousing, the Stonewall riot, the Black Cat riots here in Los Angeles in 1967, the ones from San Francisco, to get back to those roots and celebrate that level of politicking, because it's not like we fixed it all. It's not like it's over. We're still a community under fire. And so I think Pride should not only sort of, it should celebrate our achievements and where we've come, but also we should be fighting back against, what they're trying to drag us back to and what we haven't fixed yet.
Well, I know they've not yet settled on a new location for next year, but wherever it is, will you guys still offer your home as a hub, and will Dave make his amazing pancakes?
Even if it's at Catalina Island.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Come for the pancakes.
We're not a hub anymore. Like when we were just up the block from it, like friends would come over and they would like maybe leave their backpacks here and go off and do Pride stuff and then come back or whatever. But if it's going to be in, Hancock Park or whatever, then no, it wouldn't make any sense to come over here, so we'll just have our own pancakes.
I just got to tell you, since you compared 5 minutes ago, since you compared West Hollywood to the gay Vatican, all I can think of is like, well, who's the gay pope?
Me.
I mean, Walter Mercado.
One might say the Pope is the gay pope, but you didn't hear that from me.
Okay, so speaking of things that are opening and closing, Hong Kong cinemas have closed again. Right? After what they are now experiencing as a third wave of the virus there. They had hoped to have the premiere of the Train to Busan sequel this past week. That was canceled.
Ironically, about some kind of terrible
zombie
outbreak.
Plague.
Yes.
Also, Hong Kong Disney, which just reopened on June 18th, is closed again. And also, the news we just got before we came on here and talked to each other is that Gavin Newsom here in California has said that like the vast majority of counties, which are in really, really bad shape, cannot open their schools, including LA County. Hooray! So we're starting school virtually, I guess.
But Orange County, he's going to let that fly because they're the ones who...
They're spiking badly, yeah. But it's interesting. In Manhattan Beach, they are instituting a mask fine. Which is surprising
Santa Monica
to me.
has one too.
Which is surprising to me because it's Manhattan Beach and it's a little conservative there. It's like wealthy and precious and like it's a lot of tech money and a lot of athletes live there but it's a beautiful beach and a beautiful area to walk along on the Strand, and so $100 for the first violation. But we just learned no school.
The OC school board voted that they wanted to reopen, so I hope if the state can stop them, that would be wise.
They did. That was like a recommendation, I think. But it looks bad. It certainly looks bad. But now Newsom is saying that whatever district you're in, if you're in a county that is one of those watch counties, which is like affecting 35.5 million of the 40 million people who live in California.
Yeah.
That's all of us.
I, for one, am glad that they made that decision. Like, I know it sucks. I know it sucks for a lot of people. It's tough on the kids, but I think it's better than the alternative.
And I think they're ready for it a little more now. Like in March when it happened, it was such a shock, like pulling the e-brake like that. It was such a shock. And now they've had some experience with it. Maybe they have a little more of an idea of how to implement the virtual learning. It is not ideal. And I know Nick will be bummed. when I tell him.
And for the school kids who rely on, breakfast and lunches, I hope that they come up with some sort of program that will go to them rather than having them go into the schools where they can be exposed. By the way, Dave White just walked in to remind me that I meant Highland Park, not Hancock Park.
I was going to say Hancock Park. Yeah.
Yeah. I was getting my neighborhoods mixed up. Sorry about that. By the way, they're a little bit. Yeah. Going back to Asia real quick. China has said they were going to reopen their movie theaters with a lot of sort of strict guidelines in place. One of them being that no film can last longer than 2 hours.
Oh.
Which somebody on Twitter. I know. So somebody on Twitter said, well, Lab Diaz cannot catch a break, which is a super nerdy joke. But then Richard Brody said they're only going to get 6 it or 7 it.
Right. Today was supposed to be Tenant Day, you guys.
Yes,
Happy Tenant Day. I mean, what is
I can't wait to go see it tonight.
Well, unfortunately, the catchphrase, what is it? It hasn't happened yet. Right? That's the line that John David Washington says in the movie.
Oh,
it hasn't happened yet.
Great moments in irony.
So, I mean,
see you in 2021, everybody.
Theoretically, August 12th still, but like, who knows? Today is July 17th.
Just stick a fork in 2020 already. Like, look, if the fucking Rose Parade isn't going to happen, like, let's just assume between now and the end of the year, this is not going to improve in any significant way that is going to allow for like the sort of, the return of mass congregation.
There's a version of this where Chris Nolan is so upset about Tenet not showing on big screens and the studio really fighting with him because they've got to get it out, that he starts saying, okay, you can go to drive-ins, but I'm going to insist everyone clean their windows. And there's going to be a crew that cleans the windows, and we need to check your car's sound system to make sure it's up to par. Otherwise, because if you've got a shitty 8-track tape deck in your car, you are not allowed to watch this movie in our drive-in.
That's really funny.
There'll be a note that'll be handed out to everyone and the projectionists.
Well, along those lines, as far as big productions go, the news just came out today that Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans are going to co-star in a movie called The Gray Man, this espionage thriller directed by the Russo brothers, which will be the biggest budget yet for a Netflix original. It's going to cost $200 million. So the kind of blockbuster we ordinarily would have seen in a theater, they're now just saying, let's go straight to Netflix. And so I guess it's like, the kind of action that we would have seen in a Russo brothers Avengers film, an MCU film, but it's in a more real life kind of situation. It's CIA agents going after each other. I'm
kind of fascinated that Disney did not lock down the Russo brothers enough to keep them from having a deal elsewhere, because they did. We reviewed that Netflix movie they produced that also had Chris Evans in it, right? That aggressively dumb one. Like, it wasn't that long ago, y'all. It was the one in Thailand or whatever, where he's got to rescue the kid.
Chris Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Sorry.
God damn, Alonso.
The Chris's are all a blur to me. Hancock Park. I don't know. Anyway, but the Russos produced that. So clearly they have some kind of deal and extended thing going on with Netflix, which you would think, as the guys who are like two of the prime architects of the MCU, that Disney would have wanted to have more of a clamp on them, but I guess not.
No, this is very smart. Speaking of production, which I know this is that thing that you're pumped about, Alonso, that Hallmark has ordered 40 new Christmas movies.
Yes. Was not expecting that.
How many Christmas movies can there be?
Well, they did 40 last year, but they did 40 last year under regular circumstances. And here's the thing, they don't personally make 40 of them, but there's a lot of small companies that make them and hope that Hallmark will, that's the big show. Like, if Hallmark picks up your movie. And this year I thought, well, okay, clearly, I mean, they had this 3-4 months with no production going on. There's no way apparently, right now there's stuff shooting in Vancouver and in Connecticut and all these different places, I'm seeing all these pictures on Twitter, directors with face shields on and stuff, and they basically have made Christmas their priority for the year. So in a year where they normally would have been making the summer movies and the fall harvest or whatever, it's all Christmas all the time, and they think they're going to get 40 done.
How happy are you? You must be pumped.
Yes, and like it's become a little overwhelming now that it's kind of become part of my job. I'm working on this book with the Hallmark podcast, so it feels like work a little bit. But yeah, I'm admittedly looking forward to it, and I'm also very excited that they've announced specifically that they want to start including LGBT characters and storylines, which I'll believe it when I see it, and we'll see what that means, But like, look, if we can have a sexless romance that ends with one dry kiss, for a same-sex couple, then that is, that's parody.
Matt, you had a thought?
I do have a thought, because I think we can all agree that chances are there's going to be minimal Christmas this year, or probably there should be.
Yeah.
Right? Because how is Santa going to stay socially distanced from all of us?
Because everyone's asleep when he comes, Matt. That's
but you can't go to the mall and sit in his lap and tell him what you want.
Right.
Well,
I mean, what if Santa is asymptomatic and he hits every house in the world in one night? I mean, come on.
The beard.
Leave him milk and cookies and hydroxychloroquine.
And Purell.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine.
I feel like all the germs will get caught in his beard.
But I think that the fact that there are that many Christmas movies is for people who like them is a nice thing, because this is going to be a very weird holiday for a lot of people. I mean, like, I don't see myself traveling. I don't see myself even sort of socializing in the way that I normally do. So there's going to be a lot of people in their cars driving through the neighborhoods with the nice lights with their windows rolled up, and sort of, Zoom parties and who knows what else. But if we can at least count on Hallmark, then that's one thing that remains reliable.
It occurs to me that even before Christmas, what's going to happen at Halloween? I mean, I guess kids can wear masks, but you're knocking on people's doors, right?
That's true.
I mean, like, our city's going to outlaw trick-or-treating.
Good question. And also,
I will tell you this: if somebody shows up without a fucking mask at Halloween, they are absolutely getting zero candy. In fact, if anything, they're going to get a punch in the mouth. I'm just saying.
I got a rock.
I think also, and if you are handing out candy, it's going to have to be like those little sort of vacuum sealed, like, say, bags of M&Ms or Skittles, but nothing that's like wrapped or, that's not completely,
right.
Nothing that has any kind of the air can get into or whatever.
I guess we totally digress, because I wanted to mention, since we were talking about production and being careful about production, that I think you posted this, Alonso, that there's the new Pedro Almodovar movie is in production with Tilda Swinton. The picture is amazing, and that he's wearing a mask and she's wearing a shield. It's called La Voz Humana, and they've begun shooting, and they're wearing masks and they're getting it done. So I'm really curious to see how producers and how directors and how actors make it work.
Well, in this particular case, it just lucky. This is a thing that he's been working on for a while. I remember he talked about it when he was doing press for Pain and Glory, and this is the perfect project because La Voz Humana or La Voix Humaine, the human voice. It's a play by Jean Cocteau, and it's one actress. So, so it is all Tilda all the time. So like they don't have to worry about crowd scenes or whatever.
I do like that somebody on the thread, when you posted that, somebody said, based on her kind of weird outfit and the face mask, like, that's just another day for Tilda wearing clothes.
Yeah, exactly. She's had that in the closet. It was ready to go.
She can do it all. So a bunch of actors, including Idris Elba, Keanu Reeves, Mahershala Ali, Oscar Isaac, Nicole Kidman, etc., are reading bedtime stories on HBO. Is it the new HBO Max series called A World of Calm? And it is in coordination with the Calm app. If you guys have seen that, which teaches you how to meditate and
I've become a
quiet.
big fan of the Calm app.
Do you like the Calm app?
I do. Well,
what do you use it for?
Well, Kaiser gave its clients a free year of Calm. So all right, I'll check this out, and I'll tell you, you put those rain sounds, or even I like the washing machine sound, like for a nap, knocks me out. I've never had a noise generator before. I've never, the little rainforest sounds or whatever, but you can pick ocean waves and rain on the window, light rain, heavy rain, forest sounds, they have white noise, pink noise, which we tried to explain to me and I couldn't figure out.
They have chocolate rain.
Sadly, no.
Wow, that is
Pause
a
for breath.
really old reference. Wow.
It is.
We got like 5 years. Come on.
You know, and they have they have some guided meditations that are interesting. I haven't done the bedtime stories yet, but I know you can get like Matthew McConaughey or Harry Styles or different people sort of reading these stories. And somebody said you can tell they're designed that you like nod off halfway through because by the end of it they're just listing things.
I would love to hear like, and then the Giving Tree said, "All right, all right, all right."
I keep getting older, and the tree stays the same age.
Do you have anything to give me, tree? It'd be a lot better if you did.
Do you talk about the fact that you're and things we talked about that were canceled?
We had not talked about that yet. No, I kind of saw that coming. Just logistically, I couldn't figure out how you could cram all those people into this small town. I've never been, but every picture I've ever seen from there, it's like, here's a tiny picturesque town, and we're all crammed into it to see movies. And so was not surprised to hear about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try and do some sort of virtual aspect of it in the way that like Toronto's going for some in person and some virtual. So there might be some, like maybe Telluride will do at least their online tribute. Every year they do a big tribute to like an older filmmaker or actor or whatever. So I would hope there's something, but
I mean, isn't Telluride part of that whole like consortium with Toronto?
Yeah, they signed that letter.
Festival, and they're all going to do it online together or something anyway. So they already had some kind of online component.
Yeah, I can't remember what the letter said online specifically. It was just basically the idea they were all going to work together, and we figured that meant we're going to divvy up all the good premieres. But
well, it's not happening, which is a bummer. And then also, I didn't in any way partake in this, but Peacock launched this week. Did you guys peek at that at all?
I peeked, yes. It's a I haven't had a chance to really dig into it, but they have some interesting stuff and a lot that you can get for free. Like there is a subscription level, and for certain movies and maybe some shows, like if you're not a subscriber, you can't access it. But like I of course immediately dug through the Christmas stuff because that's my jam, and they have this great comedy with Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck called Remember the Night, which was written by Preston Sturges. It was the last movie that he wrote and didn't direct. That was kind of like forgotten. Like it didn't get a lot of play. TCM sort of unearthed it in the last decade or so. But then even then it wasn't streaming anywhere. So now it is. So that's kind of cool. Universal owns a lot of the old Paramount catalog. So that's one of those kind of movies. But then they've also got so a lot of the Universal horror stuff is on there. So all the classic Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man stuff is there. A lot of Hitchcock that he did for Universal is there, but some of it is behind the paywall. A lot of Brooklyn is one of the free movies, but there's other stuff there as well. So it's like everything else. I think you stumble upon these streaming services, and whether or not like their big marquee items are of interest to you or not, if you dig enough, I think if you're a nerd for this sort of thing, like I love going through Tubi and Canopy and stuff and just finding stuff that has been hard to find elsewhere. I mean, things that literally were never released on DVD. Like on Tubi, they've got Gillian Armstrong's High Tide. They've got Canopy has Paul Newman's adaptation of The Glass Menagerie, which is really great. And so it like anything else, I think if you dig into Peacock, you're going to find some stuff that you're like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while, or I forgot this existed, or I didn't know you could get it. So I don't know that I would work. No. It's worth paying for, but I haven't dug enough yet. So.
Matt, you've not peeked at Peacock?
No, I mean, I think there's a Peacock service around your house.
We see him every day. We just saw a whole bunch walking down this morning. They're all over the place.
No, I did read a story though recently. I guess there's some like feral peacock in Oakland that is making everyone miserable. That the locals there, and it doesn't have anything to do with the media, but there's just, I guess, this one random peacock that's all by himself that I guess somebody used to feed, and then that person moved away, and so now the peacock has started daily screeching for people to feed him. And I thought, well, okay, that's an easily solved problem. Start feeding the damn bird. But my wife was telling me this whole story that she read, and like everybody on the Nextdoor app in this neighborhood in Oakland is flipping out, and some people are like, "We need to kill that goddamn peacock." So,
You know what? It's mating season right now. It is peacock mating season, so he's probably lonely. If he's like
he's really horned up.
A single solitary peacock in the Oakland Hills.
Search of a peacock.
No one to put his eyes on.
I have. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that there is a new documentary that launches today about Flannery O'Connor, and so there's a lot about her peacocks that she sort of legendarily took care of at her house in Georgia.
Cool. I have two bits of sad news. Naya Rivera's body was indeed found in the lake in Ventura County. That was indeed her. That story is horrific. That she saved her 4-year-old son, put him back in the boat, and then she slipped into the water, and he just sat there, and they found her through her cell phone, calling her dad. Yeah. The worst. That's an awful story. Also, Kelly Preston died of breast cancer.
Yes.
She was only 57, and I guess no one knew that she had breast cancer. It was a very quiet, private thing.
Yeah, they kept it quiet. So I guess her last film was Gotti?
Oh, that's too bad. But yeah, there's lots of people revisiting her role in Jerry Maguire.
Speaking of people dying, we didn't talk about Grant Imahara, right?
We did not. I've never seen that show.
Oh, that show was terrific. And I've met him, like he was a fixture in the LA nerd community. The guy was super open, super cool. I had met him at around the Comic-Con scene a couple of times. I actually felt really bad because as he's walking through the Weta display, I turn around, I'm like, "Hey Grant, how's it going?" And like suddenly 7 people realize, "Oh, it's Grant Imahara," and he gets mobbed. I was like, "Oh, sorry, dude."
What's the name of the show again? Was it Mythbusters?
Mythbusters. And he was a roboticist and had done some special effects work on various movies, but died of an aneurysm at 49.
Awful.
Yeah.
I had not met him, but I know a lot of people that like we've worked with in the past at TYT and stuff, like had pictures of them where he came on different shows and podcasts. I was like, oh, he sounds like a great guy. I didn't know him.
Do we have any upbeat news we can end on? Because I'm done. Anything good happening this week you want to talk about? Anything good in our lives?
I have some good personal news that doesn't relate to anything, but I got to interview Linda Hamilton this week, and she was a delight.
Was she cool?
She was amazing. Like, she was so fucking cool. It's for a movie that's streaming this week called Easy Does It. It was shot like 2 or 3 years ago. She's like wearing awful cornrows in this movie, and like she's got chin hair sticking out. She's smoking cigars, and she's like, "Yeah, it was super fun to do." But I talked to her. The interview will be up on MoviePhone in like next week or so. But she was awesome to talk to because she does not give a fuck at all, and she just was like, "Yeah, what the fuck?" Like, she was super cool. So.
I love these interviews with women coming into their own in middle age, like her and Tanya Newton, and just not caring and just saying it all now.
Exactly.
I love it. Hopefully, it'd be nice to not have to wait that long, but that's not how this industry works. Okay, I'm done with news. So, anything else? That's it.
I think we're good. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Lots of exclusive goodies there for our members, including today we'll be reviewing the Joel Schumacher film that our members selected for us to review. That would be 1990's Flatliners, and that's a review that's exclusive on our Patreon page. So check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.
Bye.